Hey everyone! In this video I'm going to show you how I turned a cheap plastic skeleton, some dollar store flowers and some thrifted butterfly wings into a one-of-a-kind Halloween tree topper. I like using big fabric flowers for this kind of project. They just add a lot more drama and help balance out the size of the wings. Speaking of wings, if you're making a tree topper, I recommend going with the larger ones. They stand out more and usually work best on trees that are around 5 feet tall or shorter. For this one, I'm matching the wings to the pink flowers. I just really like how they look together. First, I'm posing the skeleton using some pliers and a lighter, just to give it a bit more personality. Then I'll show you how to age it and make it look creepier. Just a quick safety note, if you're using a lighter on plastic, do it in a well-ventilated area and be super careful. Melted plastic can give off fumes. I'm just heating the joints with a lighter and using pliers to bend them into place. It makes the pose look more natural. I'm going to go ahead and bend the elbows and wrists a little. If you accidentally snap off an arm or a leg, don't worry, you can just reattach it with hot glue. I sped this part up while I pose the rest of the limbs. It's just more of the same, bending and adjusting until it looks right. Okay, now let's age the skeleton and add some creep factor. I like using wood stain. Any tone works depending on the look you're going for. I'm using a water-based stain because it's way easier to clean off brushes and hands. I'm starting at the head and brushing on a fairly thick coat of stain, then dabbing it off with paper towel. You can use a sponge too, and you can make the skeleton as dark or as light as you want. I'm making sure to get the stain into all the crevices so there's no bright white showing through. That's what really gives it that aged, grungy look. Alright, let's speed through the rest and finish aging the skeleton. So far, so good. I'm loving how it's coming together. And done! I'm sealing it with matte Mod Podge to keep the stain from chipping. Let the stain dry for at least an hour or longer if it's oil-based before applying the Mod Podge. Don't worry, it dries clear. Alright, let's make the skirt. First, I need to take apart these flower petals. If your flower has a clip or a plastic backing, go ahead and remove that. We won't need the clip for this project. Most faux flowers are layered and held together with a small plastic piece in the center. Just pull gently and the petals should come apart easily. Don't worry if they separate completely, that actually makes it easier to layer the skirt later. Now I'm going to prep the petals so they can fit around the skeleton's waist. Most faux flower petals have a little hole in the center where the stem used to go, but it's usually too small for what we need. So I'm just going to take some scissors and cut a small slit in the edge of the petal in toward the center hole. Then I'm trimming around the center hole to make it a bit wider. Don't go too big though, you still want it to fit snugly around the waist. Now the flower should slide right onto the skeleton's waist. Just slip it around like a small skirt. If it feels a bit loose, don't worry, we'll secure everything with hot glue. As you can see, I've taken the skirt off of the skeleton for this part, and now I'm gluing the layers of the petals together separately. This just makes it a bit easier to line things up and keep the shape balanced, but you can definitely glue the petals on while the skirt is still on the skeleton if that works better for you. Either way, just keep layering and gluing until you're happy with the fullness and the shape of the skirt. I found it a bit easier to adjust the petals without the skeleton in the way, especially for the first layer. Okay, now it's time to attach it back onto the skeleton. I'm just adding a line of hot glue around the waist area and carefully pressing the skirt into place. Hold it for a few seconds to let the glue set. If there are any spots that feel loose, you can go back in and add a bit more glue underneath. As a finishing touch to the skirt, I like to reattach the plastic centerpiece from the flower right on top. It gives everything a nice polished look and ties the whole design together. I'm using the same technique I used for the petals, cutting a slit, making the center hole a bit larger, and then securing it in place with hot glue. Feel free to get creative here. You could add a bow, a charm, a tiny skull, or anything else that fits your fairy style. Now I'm going to add the wings. I'm using feathered butterfly wings for this one, but really any large butterfly wings will work. I've even used big plastic ones with a clip on the back, which makes it super easy to attach to the top of your tree. These ones don't have a clip, and so I'm starting by trimming off the antennae. Then I'm applying a generous amount of hot glue to the body of the butterfly, or right onto the skeleton spine. Press the wings firmly in place and hold them until the glue sets. And there she is. She's really coming together. We're almost done, just a few final details to add. I usually like to add some kind of crown or tiara, just to be a little extra. For this particular fairy, I thought she looked great with a dramatic petal headdress. Here I'm making one using some of the small leftover petals from the skirt. And I'm finishing it up by adding some silver trim and a rhinestone. Feel free to play around with whatever you have on hand. There's really no wrong way to do it. I also really like how this little rose looks right on the sternum. It adds a nice finishing touch. And that's it. Our skeleton fairy tree topper is complete. I love how she turned out. Creepy, whimsical, glam, and totally one of a kind. Let's see how she looks on the tree. Since this one doesn't have a clip on the back of the wings, I'm just going to perch her on top of this cute little feather tree by sliding her down from the bottom. I hope this video inspired you to try making your own skeleton fairy tree topper. At the bottom of the tree you'll see a few others I've made, just some examples of the different styles you can create. And if crafting's not your thing, feel free to check out my Etsy shop, The Mortician's Crypt. Some of these spooky fairies are available there too. Thanks so much for watching, stay spooky, and I'll catch you next time.